Nice to see you, Mr. President.
Nice to see you, Greta.
Surprised to see you here all the way in Singapore.
Well, it was a good place, and you're the only one I've done an outdoor interview, and it's about 130 degrees, but that's okay.
I think it's about 150, but
Yeah,
anyway.
it's pretty hot.
What surprised you today about Kim Jong-un?
Really, he's got a great personality. He's a, funny guy. He's a very smart guy. He's a great negotiator. He loves his people, not that I'm surprised by that, but he loves his people, and I think that we have the start of an amazing deal. We're going to de-nuke North Korea. It's going to start immediately, and a lot of other things are happening, including getting the remains back. I know you've been so involved in so many ways in North Korea, but getting the remains back, Greta, is so important to so many people. They've called me, they've written me letters, please, can you do it? And he's agreed to do that. Thousands of people. So, who died in the war. So that's a big deal.
So you put the human rights issue on the table today, and he reacted how?
Very well. I mean, we obviously were talking about the denuclearization 90% of the time, but we put a lot of other things, including human rights were mentioned. Getting the remains back were a big factor. In fact, we put it in the document. We're able to get that in the document. We got a lot of good things in that document. That was far beyond what anyone thought was going to happen.
Give me some sort of behind the scenes. Did you issue an ultimatum to him? Did he issue an ultimatum to you? What was the reaction back and forth?
Not an ultimatum. We've been dealing for 3 months, really, and we've been dealing through our various representatives, including Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who's done a really fantastic job. So we've been dealing for a pretty good period of time, and when we met today, we got along right from the beginning. For me, this is hour number 25. I haven't been sleeping for 25 hours. It's been a big, long negotiation, and I'm very proud of it. It starts a process, that could have ended up in a war, that could have ended up with many millions of people. You know North Korea very well. Seoul has 28 million people. That could have ended up with millions of people dead, and we're going to end up with a deal.
All right, what about our troops? Are they staying in South Korea?
Yeah, they're going to stay. We didn't even discuss that. That wasn't discussed. We are going to get out of the war games that cost so much money, because I think, number one, it's very provocative, and I want to do it, and I think they're very happy about it because it is so provocative, but it costs a fortune to do it, and we won't do that as long as we're negotiating in good faith.
What brought him to the table this time? Because there's been a lot of saber rattling back and forth over decades with the DPRK in the U.S.
Well, actually, I don't think there's been too much saber rattling prior to me. I don't think they basically had a silencio attitude, silence. They didn't want to talk about it, and you can't do that. And I think the initial rhetoric was very important, frankly, as much as I hated to do it and as much as some people thought I was doing the wrong thing. I think without that, we wouldn't be here. I also think that he really wants to make a deal. He wants to do something because he knows that we mean business. I don't think he felt that in the past. I think in the past it was different people. It didn't work out. But he knows that we want to do business. We have to do business, and we will do business. And now we do have, it's been, not a long time, but although you could say that from day one we've been talking about North Korea, and in a very tough manner. But I think we signed a document today which was far, far greater and more comprehensive than people thought. Nobody thought this was possible.
What do you think he thought of you after he left?
I think he liked me, and I like him, and I understand the past, and nobody has to tell me he's a rough guy. He has to be a rough guy, or he has been a rough person, but we got along very well. He's smart, loves his people, he loves his country, he wants a lot of good things, and that's why he's doing this.
But he's starved them, he's been brutal to them, he still loves his people?
Look, he's doing what he's seen done. I mean, if you look at it, but I really have to go by today and by yesterday and by a couple of weeks ago, because that's really when this whole thing started. Again, without the rhetoric and without the sanctions were very important. The sanctions are going to remain on until such time as we see, this is going to happen. And we pretty much see that now, but the sanctions will remain on until we really start dismantling or dismantle the nuclear weapons.
Because this is Voice America, it will be heard in North Korea by the citizens of DPRK of North Korea. What do you want to say directly to the citizens of North Korea?
Well, I think you have somebody that has a great feeling for them. He wants to do right by them, and we got along really well. We had a great chemistry. You understand how I feel about chemistry. It's very important. I mean, I know people where there is no chemistry. No matter what you do, just don't have it. We had it right from the beginning. I talked about that, and I think great things are going to happen for North Korea.
Mr. President, nice to see you all the way from Washington.
That's true. It's been a long time. At some point, I'll be able to go to sleep, I think, get a little rest.
Indeed. Have a safe trip back, sir.
Greta.
Thank you,
it's a great
sir.
honor. Thank you.
Thank you.